And now to help us unpack today's testimonies, we are now joined by security expert and head of the Department of Law, Safety and Security Management at the Tshwane University of Technology, Professor Kholofelo Rakubu. And Kholofelo, thank you so much for your time this evening here in SABC News. I mean, let's start off here. We have these two parallel processes taking place, and we just broke away from the Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee. And of course, so we do know that the Police Chief of Staff, Nkabinde, was giving his testimony then, also being questioned by MPs. At the center of his testimony, he spoke about the relationship he had with the police minister, and at the center of that relationship was the issue around Brown Mogotsi. What do you make about his testimony relating to Brown Mogotsi?
Good evening, and thank you for having me. With his testimony, he just unpacked or removed a particular layer. Remember, initially, the minister indicated no form of a relationship with Brown Mogotsi. I wouldn't say he threw him under the bus, but he just removed a particular layer and positioned Mkhunu and Mogotsi in the same space. So his testimony provided necessary clarity around this kind of relationship. However, generally, his testimony, it was an attempt, remember, to reconcile earlier contradictions, right? Where now he reframed his role as purely administrative. He's now avoiding responsibility, and from what I could pick, it's the language of distance. This and this happened. I was just executing my administrative responsibility. However, his inconsistencies in the dates initially and the vague knowledge of the meeting participants. As a chief of staff, there's no way you cannot know of the meeting participants, particularly Brown's companions, because obviously you care about the minister's safety. That undermines the reliability of his account, wherein he comes in to claim no knowledge of those participants and so forth. But again, his testimony...
We still here? We can hear you?
Yes. No, if his testimony, if credible or corroborated, because it should be corroborated, it paints a minister as a politically compromised leader who now have meetings outside office or secretive meetings. I'm sure as the minister, there were so many issues he had to deal with. Now to provide Brown Mogotsi's contacts then means and improves long-term relationship and also trust between the minister and Brown. To also now provide such a directive, you lack transparency in decision-making and communication. If indeed Nkabinde was not aware of certain people and the security of the minister, we now understand the overreaching allegation, and now it puts minister as a very reactive and not strategic leader, because now, if now you had a relationship, that kind of relationship with Brown, where you even share his contact freely, so obviously now it will be difficult to prove that your decisions were not political, because now that is a political figure whom you consider as a comrade. So how are you now coming in to prove that it was work related? Because we also now understanding very clear of the implications around Brian's claimed position as an informant or as a contact agent, as he put it, a contact agent that sources money from suspects or controversial figures. Now you have a private meeting with such a person whose honesty is largely compromised. So how do we then come in to trust or even believe your version as the minister? Because now, as a contact agent, this man is publicly agreeing to pushing his only financial interests against the pursuit of justice, as he claims to do so. And now, with his Brown's controversial and deflective and strategic fabrication strategy, how do you then have private meetings with such a person? How is he going to guide you? Then it means it might not even being about police work, but something bigger or something as alleged.
Yeah, and Kholofelo, let's now go to the testimony of Brown Mogotsi today at the Matlanga Commission. Of course, the evidence leader there questioning Mr. Mogotsi when it comes to the claims he made at the Commission of Inquiry, and when it comes to Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi as well as the Zulu King, King Misizulu, and just talking about how they are CIA agents of some sort. Also, at the same time, going as far as, claiming that the police commissioner, Fani Masemula, is being bribed.
He intentionally made information confusing, right? Or ambiguous to hide the truth, because he made sensational allegations, and those indeed are misdirection tactics.
Yeah.
He tried strategic fabrication to fabricate information, because as the commissioners tried to get substantive evidence or proof of information to substantiate his allegations, there was none. That is why then he was reprimanded on the spot when it comes to now all claims made against General Mkhwanazi, and the commissioners took him to task to verify information before coming here. And now he's a very complex or a very complicated or questionable figure. Now, his testimony is questionable as well, which now takes the commission to task with regard to how to handle such a questionable testimony.
All right,
a strategy they utilized already. We've seen cross-examination, and they might have to move to the corroboration strategy, but it's a very difficult one to handle.
All right, Prof, thank you so much for your time and for that insight.